All right, live. We're on the air. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my daily show. Welcome to Wednesday, July the 11th, 2018. Tomorrow, Thursday, will make 12 months. 11 months that I'll have been on the air. Wow, 11 months tomorrow that I'll have been doing this basically full time. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. 11 months tomorrow. This is really something. That's fantastic. Welcome all of you to my show today, and welcome all of you to you know to the event. Love it that you guys are here. Love the interaction between myself and yourself. Love your comments and your stories, your photos. Oh my gosh, my Facebook page, the group page, Traveling with Bruce. Every day, more and more photos are showing, some videos are coming in, lots of updates. It's fantastic. Everyone is reacting to it, and people are commenting on how much they're enjoying the Facebook page. If you haven't been to the group page, check it out. Just enter on the search bar on the Facebook homepage. Just enter "Traveling with Bruce" with 2 L's, of course, and it'll take you right to the group page for the channel. And people who are addicted to cruising are sharing photos and videos of their cruises and their holidays and their outings, and it's fantastic. I love it. You can't beat it. I get a real kick out of it. I sometimes catch myself and I realize, oh my God, I haven't looked at the page in like 4 hours. I've been so busy doing whatever else I'm doing. So I'll go back to take a look at the group page. It's 15 things have happened since I was last there. Oh, now I got to catch up, and I'm going through what's everyone doing, and people are posting and making a comment, and putting up a like or whatever's going on. So I'm trying to stay up on it. It's fantastic. It's getting more and more hectic, which is great. I think we have 150 members on that page. It's only 2.5 weeks, is it? 3 weeks maybe? Fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining that. Thank you also for all your support. We have 2,362 subscribers on this channel from 11 months ago. 6 more since yesterday afternoon. Fantastic. They keep coming. I was checking stats the other day about how many I'm losing. Yeah, as a creator, you want to know, And sometimes people come in, they watch a couple of videos, and then they subscribe out and they go elsewhere. And it comes and it goes, but generally every day I seem to gain more than I lose. I might lose 1 or 2, gain 8 plus 6. There you go. What are you gonna do? Fantastic. The channel's growing. The views are picking up a little bit the last couple of days. We were down to about 700-800 views a day a couple of days ago. All of a sudden, I'm like 1,100-1,200 again. It's like a 50% bump. I think because I made a couple of new videos, and I'm scheming some more, so I got to keep on top of that. But this week, I'm on today. I'm on tomorrow for 2 shows, as usual, 5 o'clock tomorrow evening and 8 o'clock tomorrow night for trivia. And then I'll be off for a couple of days. I won't be on the air Friday or Saturday. Sunday is my usual day off. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Jen and I will be driving to Calgary, spending a day with our daughter, well, a day and a half, and then driving back. So I'll be back on the air Monday as usual, and full of vim and vinegar and a whole bunch of Costco supplies from Calgary. On the way out of town, we're going to stop at our Costco store that we used to always shop at in Calgary and pick up the Canadian items that we can't get in the States. There's a certain rye bread that Costco sells in Canada. They don't sell in the U.S. It's produced out of Winnipeg. It's a real good, I think they call it land rye. It's a good dark rye bread, and the loaves are massive. I love these long, big loaves of bread. You get 2 of these things for something like $6 or something like that. And to buy 1 at a normal grocery store, it's $5 a loaf. So you get $10 worth of bread for 6. It's a good deal. And what else do we get at the Calgary? Bagels. We buy bagels. I particularly like sesame seed bagels, sesame seed topped bagels, roasted sesame seeds. You cut those in half and put them in the toaster, and as the bagel toasts up and gets crispy on the outside, the sesame seeds start to get crispy too. Oh, the taste of sesame seeds coming out of the toaster. I grab a bunch of those. So I'll be grabbing about 2 or 3 dozen of those bagels throw a bunch in the freezer, and have a few in the fridge going at all times. So we got to get a few of those provisions that you can't get at the Costco in Coeur d'Alene. They don't sell that exact kind of product. Coeur d'Alene does have bagels, but they're kind of like bready, very bready type bagels. A different recipe. I get it. It's all good. Whichever works. I love the white bread from the Costco in Coeur d'Alene. You get the sandwich bread that the loaf goes on for like 5 feet. Those things are huge. Get 2 of those for something like $4 something, or it's unbelievably cheap. How much bread that lasts us so long. It's fantastic. Love Costco, as you folks know. I love going there. It is official. They are discontinuing the Polish sausage, especially definitely in the States. They're definitely doing that now. In Canada, I don't know. I'll find out at the food court on Sunday when we get up there. What's the menu like now in Canada for Costco? Have there been any changes like they're changing in the States? We'll find out. I'll let you know. For those of you who are curious, I'll fill you in. Anyway, on the channel, thanks again for some of you folks who are picking up Traveling with Bruce merchandise. I got my St. Thomas shirt on here with the TWB logo on it right there. I took this picture off the top of the cable car ride from the gazebo on a beautiful Sunday morning. We were the only ship in port. You can see the Explorer of the Seas right there. That's the ship we were on. The only cruise ship in town that day. We lucked out. We didn't have a lineup to go up the cable car. Didn't have a lineup to come down the cable car. There were maybe 20 people up there with us. It was great. Beautiful day, and we had perfect weather, and I got lucky. I got a perfect shot with my camera and made it into a t-shirt. Fabulous. Folks are picking up the coffee mugs and travel mugs, stickers and clocks and hoodies and other product. Thank you all for supporting my channel by picking up Traveling with Bruce, or TWB merch, as I like to call it. Thank you very much. Also, folks are popping over to my Amazon page. I have a link in the description below this video. There is a link you can go to. It'll take you to the Amazon homepage, and if you shop on Amazon after linking to it through my link, this channel earns a finder's fee on anything you buy, which is fantastic. 5 days from now, Monday, I think it is, Prime Day. Prime Day. It's a day and a half this year, so it starts Monday and lasts all day Tuesday, and something like 1 million different items will be on serious markdowns for the event. Now, some of these items only last a couple of hours, so you may want to scour Prime Day early and kind of keep an eye on it as the day rolls by, because if you're a Prime member, you're going to probably get updates and emails and alerts and everything else. But if you're not a Prime member, you can become a Prime member for free. Again, go to my link. I did a link today on the Facebook page, which I'll do now every day. I'll do a link every day if I remember to remind you to become a member, a Prime member for nothing. And you can enjoy the Prime Day savings that they're going to offer. If you don't see anything you don't like, you don't buy anything. But if you do, you get free shipping, part of the deal. And boy, only a couple items a month, and that pays for the Prime membership right there. I think the typical membership is about $12 a month after the first month being free. And I think you only have to order 1 or 2 items a month to make that worth your while, because you don't pay shipping on it. Plus, you also get access to the music and access to videos and movies and books and all kinds of offers. So check it out. Please do. Anyway, that's Amazon. And thank you for those of you who are using the affiliate link to pick up whatever you're getting on Amazon anyway. You're helping out this guy right here. Thank you very much. And also, for those of you who have been sending me direct donations, my homepage up here, there are a bunch of icons, and one of them is the PayPal donation button. And for those of you who've been making donations to this guy, I cannot thank you enough. It makes such a difference. Paid the internet bill today. Yeah, good for another 30 days of Traveling with Bruce on the internet. Working on the phone bill now, and we're getting her done. We're getting her done. It's slow days in the summer, though. We're just grinding it through, waiting for the cool weather to come back. People will be indoors again, watching more YouTube, but we're working it. And so thank you for all of you who are supporting me in many different ways. I do appreciate it very much. So some of you are sharing my videos on Facebook. I love that. Some of you are retweeting my tweets. I love that. And some of you putting my links in Instagram. There's all kinds of ways people are helping this channel on social media. I love it, and I thank all of you for that. Today, I've got a couple of news items to go over with you. My number one topic today is MSC building a new terminal in Miami, a second terminal. Big news there. I'll get to that in a bit. First, I'm going to say hi to everybody. See who's here. I see the regular names filing in here as usual. Tom Henry. Tom Henry signed in at 4:33 today and said 91 degrees in Richmond. We're back from Nashville. And Tom then said, check out the ribs, Bruce, on Facebook. That was your suggestion. And I did. I went to my Facebook group page, and sure enough, Tom Henry put up a bunch of photos today, including that trip to Nashville. Wow. Fantastic pictures, though. That locomotive that you took a picture of, and that building, it looks like the Parthenon or something like that. Fantastic. Or the Acropolis. Oh, my gosh. Beautiful architecture in Nashville. Beautiful. Nashville. It's just fantastic. Peter Heckema. Hi, Bruce. 91 degrees and sunny in Tarpon Springs today. We're now in a normal summer weather pattern where it rains most days around 4 in the afternoon, then dries up in 30 minutes, and it's like it never rained at all. It's just a release. And we used to get that in the Caymans as well, the Cayman Islands. We would get those afternoon showers. They'd last 30, 45 minutes, something like that, and then they'd be over. And within 20, 30 minutes after it was over, dry as a bone, and it's clear sky and no dust in the air. Beautiful. Love it too. Tom Henry, hi, Peter. Peter Heckema, hi, Tom. Nashville is a great place to visit. Jim Thomas is here. Heidi, ho, everyone. 104 in Anderson, California. Welcome, Jim. I hope your knee has come around. I would imagine you're over 90% by now. Let us know. How are you doing? Are you doing any more physio, or are you done with that? How's it going? I'm hoping that you're back up and running again. Ann Jordan, morning, Bruce, and all. It's 21 degrees Celsius in Brisbane, Australia. Possible shower today. Take care there, Ann. Watch for those clouds. Stay indoor. Let them pass you by, and enjoy the outdoors. Thanks, Ann, for coming by, and thanks for all of your moral support and comments and everything. Because Ann, you're everywhere. You're on my Facebook group page. I love it. And you're here. It's fantastic. I think it's great. I get comments from you as well. Perfect. Couldn't ask for a better subscriber. This is great. And morning, Tom, Henry, and Peter. Robert Brandt. Hi, Bruce, and everyone. 85 and sunny in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. This is for you, my friend. I'm wearing this in your honor today because you've been supporting my channel wonderfully lately, and I really do appreciate it. Welcome back to the show. I know you're getting your product. This is it Saturday? Your son arrives from Philadelphia. He's got the TWB merch you ordered. He's bringing it to you. Fantastic. I can't wait to see you take some photographs of that stuff and put it on the Facebook group page. That'll be great. Tom Henry, Jim, send some of that heat to Ann. She likes it warm. Stay cool. Tom Henry, Bruce, they were, but the ribs were good, he says. They were good, but I wasn't used to all those little bones. And then Richard C. Saying hello, everyone. And Ann, hot again in Philly. 85 Fahrenheit. How about that newly married couple with the zipline accident in Honduras? Isn't that a tragedy? I read that about 4 or 5 days ago, and it's a sad story. Newlywed couple on a cruise, and they went on a cruise sponsored outing, and it part of that was a zipline ride. And how it happened, why it happened, I do not know, but they somehow collided. And they were both badly injured, both taken to hospital. He died in the hospital. The groom, the bride, survived it, but she is seriously hurt too. And that's a sad story, it really is. And Jordan, awesome pics. Tom Henry of Nashville. The ribs look awesome, she's saying. Tom Henry, what happened, Richard? And well, I just mentioned it here about the couple going there. Tom Henry, thanks. And Jordan, morning, Robert. How's the weather in the U.S. Virgin Islands? And Jordan, nice day here. Fell asleep by the pool, and the alert on my iPad just woke me up. It's time for TWB. Don't be sleeping out here. Oh my goodness, Robert, you got it figured out. Paul Wilgus. Hello, Bruce, and all. 80 and raining here in Virginia. Right on, Paul. Hanging right on in there. Stay dry. Hopefully it will pass quickly. Tom Henry, I was sitting on the right side of the tram. Seemed like a lot of good sights were on the left. All right, and then Nina, hi from Summary, Sweden. Hi, Nina Frank from Sweden. How you doing today? Rob Souders here. Greetings from Buffalo today, Bruce. Rob, how you doing? How's Buffalo doing up there? Fantastic. Welcome to the show. And Jordan is saying, hey, Nina. Tracy Dunlop is here. Hi, Bruce. And all 90 Fahrenheit in Naples today. A little breeze, nice day. Wendy McCullough. Hello, everyone. 88 and sunny in southern Indiana. Wendy and Tracy, welcome back. As always, Debbie Emanuel is here. She must have the internet up and running at work. Richard C. was horrible story for that couple. So sad. Hi, Bruce, and all another 102 degrees day here in Chico. Yippee! And like I said, I think her internet is working at work, which is a good news. Richard C. Debbie Emanuel. Yes, I can't believe they didn't control the descent of the husband. Unbelievable. And Jordan. Hello, Tracy, Wendy, Rob. I just heard about the zipline accident. Sad story. Rob Souter, better get a couple Polish dogs while you can, folks, while they're still available at Costco. Seakeeper, hi, Bruce, and all. 91 degrees in the shade here in Tequista, South Florida. Very muggy, so I returned inside. Thumbs up. I will try to post pics on Facebook, but I am notoriously inept at Facebook. Seakeeper, whenever it happens, no big deal. Debbie, hi there, and Jordan, great pics, Debbie, on the Facebook. Awesome from the Bliss. She posted some more last night. Fantastic, Debbie. They are great photos. Tom Wilgus, Richard, that was the fault of the zipline company. I went on the zipline tour in Roatan, and the guides had radios letting the other end know when to send the next person. What a terrible thing! It's just awful. Richard is saying, Debbie, I guess the safety follower is not like it is in the U.S. The Gibraltar cable car was shaky. We did a tour of the tunnels and got up halfway up the mountain, rickety wooden platform. Yikes! Yeah, Jen would not be interested in that. I'll tell you that right now. Debbie Manuel, I do not think a zip line is something I'm willing to do now in a foreign country. We'll stick with Alaska and Hawaii on cruises from now on. If you're going to do a zip line, yeah, keep it local. Richard, Randy Lucas says here, greetings, Bruce and all, calling for a high of 98 today. Wow, Randy. Unbelievable. I think you're getting ready to hit the road in your big ass RV, are you? Was it you getting together for some kind of a Harley deal, something like that? 98, man. Woo, that's hot. And Jordan, thumbs up from Richard. Cool Jazz. Hello, Bruce. Happy hump day from the Apple, the Big Apple. It's 80 degrees here. Fantastic. That's not bad weather for New York for sure. And he's asking Ann how she's doing. Jim Thomas. Yep. Deb Emanuel, you made it back. Yay. Tom Henry, Randy back home today. Tom Henry's wondering. Auntie Jane 11 is here. Hello, everyone. Bit cool here today from New Zealand. Auntie Jane is here. How you doing, darling? Welcome back to the channel. I noticed you sent me a few messages. I got them, and welcome back. Tom Henry at Debbie Manuel, which bar had the buffet casings, or the bullet casings? Which bar had the bullet casings, not the buffet? Yeah, that picture of all those bullet casings. I was surprised to see that. What is that from? Richard C. Where's our buddy MG Doe? Randy Lucas, TH, Tom Henry. Yep, doing prep for the big SRV trip to Sturgis, SD, South Dakota. Is that where you're headed? For the big motorcycle rally. Wow, that will be a trip. Robert Brandt is going at Robert C. Richard C. Paul Wilgus. Keep quiet. Don't make too much noise. Yeah, sorry, guys. Funny type of guy. Robert Brandt smiling. What can I say? There are certain people that just are the way they are. What are you gonna do? Anyway, Cool Jazz, Richard, please don't call that name out loud. Don't be doing that. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, I wanted to mention today a story I read. There were two I had that I read up about, and the sad story that I read up about today was something that I heard last night. I think it was yesterday afternoon, and then I read on it again today. It was a Regent cruise. Just off the coast of Vancouver Island, off of Canada. The ship is called the Seven Seas Mariner. It's a Regent ship, which I believe Regent is owned by a Norwegian. It's their high-end line. A 73-year-old man was found in the water off Vancouver Island by the Coast Guard and was pronounced dead. They tried to revive him, and they got him to shore, and they took him to the hospital, but he was dead in the hospital. I don't know if they were ever able to get him conscious again. But the captain was quoted as saying a day or two ago when this originally broke, the story broke, I think the day before yesterday, that they had video of the gentleman jumping off the ship. It was at 4 in the morning, pitch dark. They believe he purposely jumped off the ship. His wife reported him missing. She about quarter after 4 in the morning, she detected in her suite a bit of breeze coming in from the outside, and she realized that the balcony door was about 6 inches ajar, so open by 6 inches. She didn't see her husband in the cabin. She looked out at the balcony. He wasn't there. Checked the bathroom. He wasn't anywhere. And she alerted the ship people, and they immediately launched a search. Of course, they took a look at the videos because they have security cameras on these cruise ships. All cruise ships pretty well have this. And they quickly determined that, yep, that cabin right there, even in the middle of the night, the cameras they use have the lens can detect people in the evening. It's I guess it's a heat-related sensor or something like that. And the captain was quoted as saying that the passenger jumped off the ship. Now, the Coast Guard, when asked by news organizations today about what happened, they said it's all under investigation. So they are not they're not interested in ready to prepare to do any kind of a comment officially from their angle. But the captain had been quoted already to someone, and somehow it got out to the general public, and it's a sad story. It can happen, and who knows why? Who knows what? Is the gentleman? Was he in? Is he suffering from terminal cancer? Does he have 6 months to live? Is he? I don't know. What's the deal? Was it pre-planned, premeditated? Maybe. It's a sad story, and it's too bad. But occasionally that happens. So that was one news story that I heard of today. The other one was MSC. The MSC Cruise Line, which those of you who are familiar with cruising, MSC is a company based in Switzerland. It's owned by a private corporation that happens to run the second largest container shipping company in the world. I think they have 530 offices around the world for the shipping company. And on the cruising side of things, MSC is probably the fastest growing cruise ship company, certainly by numbers of berths or numbers of beds being brought to sea. MSC is the largest operator today of cruise ships in the Mediterranean. They are quickly becoming one of the larger cruise line companies. So they're number 4 right now, I think, in size. They're about to pass Norwegian in the next 2 or 3 years because their ship building schedule is aggressive. They're bringing out a new ship every 11 months or so, and these ships are getting bigger. They're bringing out, they just brought out the Seaside. They brought out the Seaview. Seaside back in January. Seaview just came out, 5,000 passengers, and now another one called the, I always mispronounce it. It's called the Meraviglia. The Meraviglia. It's going to handle between staff and the crew and the passengers. The count will be close to 8,000 or close to 7,000 people. It's massive. It's getting close to. It's a 200,000 ton vessel, so it's a little smaller than the Oasis class of Royal Caribbean ships. But this will be the biggest ship they're operating, and they are bringing out ships. A bunch have been ordered. Liquid natural gas is what they're using for fuel. And this is also a big deal in the business, by the way. But anyway, the story out of Miami it was announced today, I believe. The Port of Miami and MSC Cruises have come up with a joint announcement saying that MSC will be building a second cruise terminal in the Port of Miami. They've got one now. They're adding another. The second terminal also comes with rights. It's called preferential port rights or docking rights, where right now MSC is allowed to bring in their cruise ships. They can bring in 1 or 2 on Saturdays only. That's why the MSC Seaside does a turnaround every Saturday in Miami. They are now going to have turnaround rights Saturdays and Sundays. This will allow the cruise line to add 2 more ships to their turnaround schedule just out of Miami. Now, I know they're also in negotiations with Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale. They're talking there as well. But at the moment, Miami is the #1 lead port for these guys. The Seaside right now sails year-round out of Miami. The Armonia, which is the ship that crashed into the pier in Roatan about 2 months ago, the Armonia will start sailing Caribbean cruises. This says December 18th till next spring. And behind it, the Divina is coming. The Divina is coming in October to March every year, and that's a big cruise ship. It's doing a repositioning cruise in September from Europe to Miami. And the brand new Meraviglia, November 19th, November 2019, will be in Miami to start going from the port of Miami as well. So that will make 4 ships utilizing Miami between now and next year, November. That's only a year and a half from now. We're probably talking 15 to 20,000 passengers a week doing a turnaround out of Miami. And that will be rivaling Norwegian's numbers, and certainly surpassing probably everybody else but Royal Caribbean and Carnival, obviously. But this company is becoming a player, and they're getting it figured out as to what Americans want, how they want it, how they like it on a cruise in the Caribbean, because the MSC Seaside has gone over a number of changes, a number of adjustments in the last 2 months. And it should be a most interesting development here as this Miami port gets built out by MSC for their needs. Quite amazing. We know that Royal Caribbean has built a new terminal, or building, and Norwegian is building a new terminal. There's a lot going on in Miami, and we also know that there's billions being spent in Port Canaveral, and it's only a matter of time where MSC will be there as well. And then, of course, Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, excuse me. That will be the next one. So MSC, it wouldn't surprise me, within 5 years, MSC might well be operating 10 ships in the Caribbean, 5 full-time, 5 part-time, and then ships will head to Alaska. 5 of those 10 will probably do Alaska in the summers. They're going to be a player, a big player, with basically brand new cruise ships for the North American market, and big ones, big. So this will be a most interesting thing to watch and follow, because they are working it out. They have the bottomless pit of capital to go ahead and do what they're doing. They are not tied to the stock market like the other companies are, Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, or Carnival. They're tied to the stock market. Their stock price dictates how things are going to go, whether Wall Street will welcome them to come and borrow money or not for a new ship, or 2 or 3. But MSC, it's full steam ahead, and it's a big deal. So there you go. That's a couple stories I read up on today. One other thing I'll mention was, speaking of cruise ships converting into liquid natural gas. We did talk about a story earlier this week, and maybe last week, I think we mentioned it for the first time, but Carnival abandoning Europe, or leaving Europe with, there will be no Carnival ships in the Mediterranean going forward, starting this fall, I think it is. Why is that? Questions are being asked. And I did read a story today that did not have anything to do with Carnival directly, but indirectly it did. It was a story about a series of lawsuits that are being started, I believe, in Marseille, France. This is a seaside city, beautiful area. But Marseille in France is very heavily visited by ferry boats, large, like 1,000-foot long ferries that go to Corsica Island and back, and cruise ships. 10% of all the air pollution in Marseille and I wouldn't be surprised if Savona, Italy is suffering from this as well, comes from ships, from cargo ships and cruise ships. And cruise ships are notorious for pollution because when this 5-star floating hotel parks itself in the pier, at the pier, and is not plugged into shore power, the ship has to keep its generators running, its engines running to power its generators, to power its air conditioning, its kitchens, its water systems, everything, all the filtration, you name it. And the ship is just sitting there, and the smokestacks, out comes the pollutants. And a lot of cruise ships built up until 10 years ago are using heavy fuel. They call it heavy fuel. Dirty, very dirty, high in sulfur and other poisons. Whereas today's cruise ships coming out of the shipyards are under much more stringent conditions. They have what are called scrubbers in their smokestacks to try to eliminate a lot of these or capture a lot of these pollutants. But the big push now is to go with liquid natural gas fired engines. These are the cleanest burning. It's the cleanest burning fuel you can get, and it's right up there for the high-end pollution standards that Europe is insisting on. Some Asian countries will start to insist on shortly, but North America has not yet insisted on it. And of course, with the U.S. and the current administration, you can probably burn bunker fuel and to get away with it. But anyway, story is that about a month ago, a P&O cruise ship, which is owned by Carnival, a P&O cruise ship was in port, I believe in Marseille, and they detected, the authorities detected that the ship was emitting way too many pollutants into the air in breach of the law. And the ship's captain was arrested and is facing trial. The ship company is on trial with him. There will be a fine, but there might be 6 months imprisonment for the ship's captain. They're not fooling around with this stuff. They're serious about the pollutants in the air. And I had a thought today. It just kind of occurred to me, oh, maybe that's why Carnival is pulling all of their ships out of the Mediterranean and bringing them back to the States, to the Caribbean market, to the New England market, Alaska market, and elsewhere where the emissions aren't as stringent, because Carnival has added new ships to its fleet. I'll grant you that, but they're not yet liquid natural gas burning ships. These are the heavy fuel burners. And something tells me that Carnival may not be able to comply fleet-wide for the new emission standards in the Mediterranean waters. And that might be the reason why they are pulling out of the European market. That could be the quiet and silent answer that no one talks about. You know, the PR department sure isn't going to brag about this. This is going to be kept on the down low here. Well, just me taking a guess what's going on, because P&O, their subsidiary, got nailed already. Now what happens with Cunard? What happens with Holland America, Princess, Ada? What happens with Costa Cruises, all their ships? So we'll have to see how this plays itself out. I will note that Carnival has made a number of announcements in the last 3-4 months that a number of their ships on order coming up in the next 2, 3, 4 years are liquid natural gas powered. So the future is bright. It's better. But what do you do with the 26 ships you have that are not compliant? You sail them where you are allowed to sail them. And right now, the United States is not enforcing environmental rules like the Europeans are. I'm not sure about Canada. I don't know what's happening in this Gulf of St. Lawrence, what's going on there. But at the moment, all is clear in North America. But we'll have to find out, as it goes on. So there's a bunch of thoughts. Anyway, I'll just get your comments here on any of what I've just said, and we'll continue on with the show. Mary Ellen Shaw recently zip-lined in the Blue Ridge Mountains, super safety conscious and an awesome experience. They're doing it right there, Mary, for sure. Cool Jazz saying stay warm. And Debbie Manuel, oh shoot, Thomas, bar name on top of tongue. They charged me for drinks even while having unlimited package. We'll tell you for sure when pops back into head. When pops back into head. Okay. Let's going here. And Jordan is saying hi to Andy Jane. Richard C. Wow, what a way to go at 72. Yeah, jumping off the ship on purpose if that's how it's happened. Auntie Jane is saying hi, Ann. I'm great. Your cruise countdown is clicking over fast. Exciting. Auntie Jane just getting everything ready. Cruising soon. Tom Henry, that's terrible. DE, how hard was it to get fixed? Debbie Manuel, he's curious. Where are you going? And Jordan, Richard wants to know. Auntie Jane is just happy to be here. Tom Henry, how many days, Ann? We need to help you count it down. Ann Jordan, Richard C. 10-night round trip from SYD, Sydney to New Zealand on Royal Caribbean Ovation of the Season. 153 days. Beautiful ship. The countdown is definitely on there. Ann Jordan, thanks, Tom Henry. I posted my cruise on Facebook a while back. John Landry's here. The Marigavigilia isn't the new ship. It's been out since June 17. They were doing Mediterranean cruises. John, I apologize if I misread this. I guess what's going on is the ship is new to Miami. I guess that's the story. The way I read this press release, and I was in a hurry today, the way I read this press release, I was under the impression that this was a new ship being built and would be delivered in November 19, but you're right. I'll take your word on it that you're on it, that the ship was already at sea. It's probably less than a year old, but it'll be brand new for the Hawaii, for the Miami market, for the Caribbean area, and it'll come in November 19th. Thank you, John, for that, for clearing that for me. I appreciate it. Seakeeper MSC was advertising vacation packages in Montreal's newspaper this morning. Flight and a 7-day cruise for $1,517 Canadian per person. That ship's name, Meiravilia. Meiravilia. Man, it's, you know, those names. Don't pronounce the G. Means wonder. Meiravilia. The Meiravilia. How about that? Thank you for that too. I'm winging it, doing what I can. Tom Henry, I'm wondering if the 72-year-old had a cancer diagnosis. That would do it for me. He's thinking, skip the chemo. You just don't know, Tommy. That could be it. It could have been that he, maybe he's suffering from the early stages of Parkinson's or dementia. He knows he's got memory issues. This was the last ever cruise. I don't know. It's too bad. It is, but it was on, I think, the second to last day of the cruise, right towards the end, and he jumped. As far as we know, he jumped. We'll see. Richard C. and Jordan, have fun. We'll check those places out next year. Are you going to do the Tari Gorge train in Dunedin? Dundel. How do you pronounce that? Dunedin? That's a problem with reading. I gotta read it and wing it. Cool Jazz. Hopefully they get their act together by then. He's thinking with. I'm not even sure what he's thinking about. He's talking about one topic. Hey Debbie, Silo Steve is here. How was the ship for you? Sorry, I wasn't at the dock. My back had other plans for me. Did you make any gambling money? That's what he's wanting to know too. Auntie Jane 11 from New Zealand and Jordan. You should get some nice weather on your cruise. It's awesome. Silo Steve, hot in the 80s in Seattle today. No clouds. 108 days to the Bliss. 557 days until the Encore. Seakeeper, not every port has LNG refueling facilities. LNG carriers will be needed instead of bunker barges. A well-maintained LNG engine basically exhales water vapor and heat very green. And I can see Europe, no problem there. I think there'll be tax incentives for the ports to do it. I'm sure there'll be government assistance. It's just going to be the way it's going to be done. They will, in effect, eliminate heavy fuel vessels from their waters over the next 10, 15 years. They'll just legislate them out, and they will then either be retrofitted or they'll be scrapped, or they will ply their trade wherever they can while they can, and we'll see how that works out. Does that mean the United States will be the last country allowing these kinds of vessels in? Question is, where are they going to once they leave the U.S.? Are they headed to Europe? They can't go in there. You can't go to Europe and burn the fuel there and then come to the U.S. That's not going to work for you. They'll have to see how this all plays out. Right now, certain jurisdictions are ahead of others with regard to this legislation on LNG, clean burning fuels. Europe, I know, is definitely up on it. Other countries are following suit. We'll have to see how this plays out in the long haul. Richard C., the captain of the Concordia, is still not in jail. So I don't know how serious Europe is on the environmental issues. I thought he was. I thought he was in jail, but maybe he's awaiting an appeal for his last hope. I don't know. Debbie Manuel, hi, Salo. Sorry about your back. Some woman adopted me for a night and took me to her favorite penny machine, cashed out $127 and another $176 from the $40 free play I had, thanks to the great tip. Yeah, nice going, Debbie. I have to say, yesterday evening, Debbie did send me a donation through PayPal. And I asked her, did you win money at the casino? Because I got a donation. So there you go. Well done, Debbie. I'm proud of you. That's fantastic. Wendy Thompson. Diesel is $2.89, gas $2.69, temperature 95 in Owensville, Missouri. It's hot here. Oh my, Wendy, it is warm. Hang on in there. And Jordan, awesome, Silo. You will have an amazing time on the Bliss and the Encore in 557 days. Tom Henry, and 12/16 is my birthday. I will have fun counting down your days. Oh, fantastic. That's when she's going on a cruise. Silo, and join us on the Encore. It's a group cruise. Wendy Thompson, hi, everybody. Hi, Wendy. Steamy Bean, hey, folks. Steamer, how you doing? Richard C., hey, Beaner. Scott Brody, hey, Scott. Hi, Bruce, and all packed up and ready to head out for the Alaskan Solstice Cruise on Friday. Fantastic, man. Scott, that's going to be a fantastic cruise for you. You got to give us a report. Let us know how it's doing. Take a bunch of pictures. Post them on my Facebook group page, Traveling with Bruce, so we can catch up and see what it looks like for you. That is absolutely wonderful. And Andrew says, I'd love to get together with you, Salo, but I'll be on the Majestic Princess in February 2020 doing a repositioning cruise. How about that? Speaking of Alaska, I took a peek at vacationsgo.com just the other day. Cruises are still bargain basement priced. If you want to go out of Vancouver, British Columbia, for a 7-day cruise up to Anchorage and then grab an Anchorage cruise 7 days to come back, you're still under $450 for a week. These prices are very reasonable. Some are in the 300s still. We're talking July and August cruises here for less than $400 a person, albeit it's an inside room. But boy, 7 nights with the meals and those views, man, pretty nice. It's been an interesting season for cruise pricing in Alaska this year because of the, I think, competition for business. You have Celebrity, of course. You got Norwegian with the Bliss. You've got Princess, Holland America. I mean, we got a bunch of ships, Carnival ships. Got to be busy. Interesting stuff. Let's see what's going on here. Scott Brody, hey, Salo, Steve, keep up that great weather for us for Friday. It's the time of year. Should be good. Touchdown 821. I think Dunedin is pronounced Dunedin. I wish the balconies would be changed to be jump proof. Well, what are you going to do? Cage people in? That's the only way you do it. You can't make it, even if you make it 6 feet high on the balcony, people just get on a chair, on a table, and jump anyway. I mean, if you're determined to jump, you're going to jump. Otherwise, the only way to do it is make it a cage, and that isn't going to happen because people don't want to be on a balcony that has a cage. I can see that. So, yeah, don't know how you can make it jump proof. Richard C. Bruce, some of the Alaskan ports require that the ships be on shore power. Speaking with the captain on my Mediterranean cruise, they use low sulfur fuel 2 miles to port and then switch to regular fuel further out. Very interesting, Richard. That's interesting to read that. It makes sense, of course. I know that a number of ports, they make a big deal of it when this happens. They announce with great fanfare that they have electric shore power at ports, allowing ships to shut down the engine completely, just to turn off the engine and have the entire ship run from electricity from the shore. This is becoming much more standard fare, and I think this will be the norm in most cruise ship ports in, let's say, Western world developed countries, right? So Roatan, maybe not, but Fort Lauderdale, shore power. Uh, the port in for Rome or for Genoa or for Marseille, they will eventually have shore power, unless they're tendering. If they're tendering out in the water, they got to run their systems, so they got to go on this low sulfur fuel at the very least, or at best have liquid natural gas running when you're tendering just offshore. So I'm sure the changes are underway. It's a big business. It's billions of dollars. It's a huge conversion. It will take 10 to 15 years to fully implement, because a cruise ship that's 15 years old today, in 15 years will be 30 years old. If it isn't converted by then, it'll be scrapped, because it'll be a 30-year-old ship anyway. So out with the old, bring in the new, and let's go liquid natural gas, and then go shore power if at all possible. We'll have to see. Auntie Jane Bean, Touchdown 821 has the accent as well to pronounce Dunedin. Laugh out loud, great stuff. Touchdown 851. There you go. Auntie Jane like that. Robert Brandt, 6 cruise ships in Charlotte. Amali would use more electricity than the island as a whole. Wow, Robert, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, you think about that. 6 ships in port at the same time, averaging 4,000 people. You know, some hold 3, some hold 6. What do you got? 24,000 people, plus you probably have 10,000 crew, 35,000 people to provide electricity for. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I don't think St. Thomas could handle it. Don't think so, which kind of begs the question, well, St. Thomas wasn't designed to really handle 25,000 cruisers in a day originally. I mean, St. Thomas, there was a time probably 30 years ago, back in the 80s, where St. Thomas was a sleepy little island that was a protectorate, a territory of the United States, that had the odd cargo ship come in with provisions, yeah, and a ferry ship to take you over to San Juan, Puerto Rico, yeah, and maybe the Love Boat kind of ship would come by once in a while. But today, there are days where there are 6 ships in port at the same time. St. Thomas was never designed or anticipated this kind of business 30 years ago. But obviously, the powers that be, whether they are St. Thomas based or Washington based or wherever the power is to make these calls, to make these decisions, someone somewhere decided that 6 ships is okay. We'll allow them in. We'll allow the tourists in. We'll flood the island with a whole bunch of visitors on several days a week like this. Some days might only have 2 ships, 3 ships. Others will have 6. Same with the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands doesn't have a pier for any cruise ship to come to shore. Everybody has to tender offshore, which means they got to run their engines. The good news for Caymanians, those who live on the island, is that the winds are predominantly going from east to west. The winds are usually headed to Mexico. 7 Mile Beach is on the western side of Cayman. So the ships are off to the west of Cayman. So the smoke goes up and then heads away from shore out to the sea, the Caribbean Sea. So if you're doing a little powerboat sport fishing about 3 miles behind those cruise ships, you're probably smelling some pretty foul stench of cruise ships. If there's 6 of them sitting there, all running their engines, and they're all running their engines, you're going to be inhaling that gunk way out there, because it'll have gone up in the air and then eventually worked its way back down to the seaside, sea elevation. And it can't be pretty. It just can't. So Caymanians don't smell the cruise ships because they're offshore and the wind blows it away from the island. But certain locales, the wind blows the exhaust from cruise ships right into town. And if you've got 5 or 6 of them, it's not good. St. Thomas, you got to wonder, how bad is it? What's the prevalent direction of the winds in St. Thomas? And that's a consideration to make. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Excuse me. Very interesting thing here. Seakeeper, just imagine the amount of juice required to power a megaship. It boggles the mind. It's phenomenal amounts of fuel by the ton, not by the gallon. Cheers, everybody, by the way. Struggling with Bruce Frommer. Steaming Bean, I'm pretty good at pronouncing New Zealand places' names. Cheryl Nemo is here. Plug in that cruise ship just like a big SRV. Just plug that baby in. Well, if you can, if you can park it on the pier and the pier is electrified, you got electricity coming to the pier, yeah, the cruise ship will have to pay for the electricity they use. Of course, they'll save on fuel. But the island or the territory or wherever this is has to be able to provide it. And Robert makes a very good point. St. Thomas is designed for the residents of St. Thomas for its electrical needs. And yes, you've got power surges, needs go up and down depending on time of day and load factor. But you're going to add 6 cruise ships, you're going to add 35,000 people with the crew for electrical needs. Your system can't handle it. There's no way you're going to build a power plant large enough to handle the island and the cruise ships, but only for the 6 hours a day they're there. Doesn't pay, because the other 18 hours, no one is using all that electricity the plant is capable of producing. It's a waste of money. So you got this back and forth thing here. Clean natural gas might become legislated law eventually, but in the current environment in Washington, it's not a priority, obviously. That's just the way that is right now. Richard C. Diesel engines are the real sticking point for running on low sulfur fuel. Need some modifications to do that. Very correct, sir. And Jordan, hey, Bean, how are you? Auntie Jane, Bruce, you pronounced it perfectly. Bean will be jealous. Steaming Bean, off to the football game tomorrow in my hometown, Calgary at Ottawa. He's going to be in Ottawa to catch this game and headed to New York City the next morning. Right on, Beaner. That should be great. I'm looking forward to seeing your photos on my Facebook group page. Silo Steve, going to St. Thomas in 2020, last there in 1988. Silo, it's changed. It's changed. Richard C. Dubrovnik hates having so many cruise ships in ports. Residents don't like it. Merchants love it. Yeah, the merchants love it. They are starting to restrict the number of ships in at one time based on size. And I know there's also a big effort in Venice. The merchants love the ships. The historians and the preservationists, they don't. And the ships are causing 2 problems in Venice: the emissions and the water action, the wave action, the deterioration of the canals and the water systems and the silting and all this stuff. And there may be serious restrictions placed on ships entering Venice or getting near Venice. That we'll see how that comes out. Steaming Bean, I will leave Auntie Jane a ticket at the front gate. Auntie Jane, just come on down to Ottawa. He's got a ticket waiting for you for the Stampeders against the Red Blacks at the Ottawa football stadium. Just make your way over there. Auntie Jane Bean, very exciting. I'll be looking for your vlog on ship and in New York City. Steaming Bean, I hope to vlog it. Auntie Jane Bean, funny, only if All Blacks were playing. The All Blacks that she's referring to were playing. That's her rugby team. Silo Steve, in Skagway, we had 5 ships in, including our big old Bliss. That was too many people for that town. There were lines for everything. And this is the thing about cruising. Cruising has become so popular that it's almost killing itself in certain ways because of cruise towns, cities, ports are desperate for business. They'll tolerate 5 cruise ships in a day, and these aren't 1,500 passengers each. These are big ships. Where 20 years ago, the biggest ship in the world had 2,100 passengers. Today, that's considered a small cruise ship. 2,100 is small. So 5 ships, you're talking 15, 20,000 people. Yeah, you're going to have lineups at every bar, at every ice cream shop, every bathroom. And can you imagine the condition of the bathroom at the end of the day? Got to be ugly. If you had a sewer backup, oh my God. They're just not able to handle that kind of influx of people daily through the summer. The wear and tear on the infrastructure has got to be severe. But money is money. Cash is cash. Tourists don't vote. That's another beauty of tourists, the beautiful thing. Tourists do not unelect a mayor. They do not unelect congressmen. They do not unelect council members or aldermen. You only have to rely on your local population. And if your local population is made up of a bunch of merchants who hire a bunch of locals and they sell them a load of goods saying, hey, for 5 months, we have to tolerate these hordes of tourists from all over the place. But at the end of 5 months, we've all made a whole bunch of money. We brought in a bunch of tax money for the town and the district, the county, the community at large. We can build out our community centers. We can do this. We can do that. We can pave our roads. We can, look after our sewage lines. From all the money that these non-voting tourists drop into town from sales tax revenues and wages and supplies and you name it. The ice cream maker is a happy guy. The dairies are happy. The bread makers are happy. Everyone's happy from an economic point of view. The environmentalists are outraged. They're offended. And they point out, yeah, sure. Yeah, you're letting in 1 million people. You're letting in 600,000 people for the summer to come on in here, walk everywhere. Well, have you seen your town lately? Have you seen around your town? Have you noticed the pathways? Have you noticed the wear and tear on the ecology around here? Now, for some people, that's not important. What's important is the balance in the bank account. Others, that is important. Some, it's equally important. Well, here's a classic example right here. 5 ships in town spewing the sulfur into the air, whatever the emissions are. And you got hordes of people all over the place, lineups everywhere. What are you going to do? If you've never been there before, you want to see it. This is a great way to see it economically. I was just telling you that for $380 or $400, you can take a cruise for 7 days up to Alaska and 7 days back, another $400. 14 days up there you can spend for cheap. You cannot walk up there. You can't bike up there. Some of these ports are only accessible by rail or ship. You can get there on the cheap, can't you? And so there you go. Until the day comes that the governments will say, sorry, we'll only allow 1 cruise ship a day per port. You have to be shore power to park on shore, or you have to burn liquid natural gas or something just as clean. Otherwise, you can't come in. That will kill the Alaska cruise business temporarily. Eventually, there will be enough cruise ships built and delivered to probably handle that kind of strict environmental rule. But right now, today, no way can the cruise lines make it. They cannot adhere to those kinds of restrictions. And so right now, we see this and we hear this kind of talk about how many cruise ships are in town. Richard C., have fun and be safe being in New York City, he's saying. And Jordan, awesome being, have an amazing trip. Have a great football game. Also look forward to your vlogs on Facebook. The steamer is saying thanks, everybody. And Jordan saying vlogs, damn typo. Robert Brent, we have 50,000 residents, so add 35,000 to that. 85,000 people on the island. Was it even designed to handle 50,000? I mean, I bet you there are locals going, we got too many people now. We shouldn't be at 50,000. We should be at 25,000. You never know. Seakeeper, 35,000 cruisers all flushing the toilet at the same time could sink the island. There you go. Robert Brent, the big problem here is not being a state of the USA. We can't borrow the same way for infrastructure. There you go, Robert. That's exactly right. And so you have these ships coming in with these 35,000 cruisers dropping a lot of money on an economy that desperately needs it for daily services, infrastructure, long-term, and economic development. Absolutely. I can certainly see why U.S. Virgin Islands was rebuilt. After the hurricane wiped this out, they rebuilt this fast because they want these guys coming back in big time. I can see it. Caymans did it after their hurricane. St. Martin is certainly doing it. And now we have Dominica and other islands who got badly hit are rebuilding fast, trying to get cruise ships back in because it's cash. They consider it clean cash because you don't have to build anything for these guys, really. You don't have to design 4-lane highways for these cruise ship passengers. You don't need to do that. You just need to be able to house them, get them off the pier, and make it as easy as possible for them to get off the ship and get onto the shore, and offer them trinkets and T-shirts and booze and perfume and duty-free, whatever, and get them onto some tours and have them spending some money. That's what it's about. And these islands still consider cruise ships to be clean business as opposed to building a factory with a smokestack. They can't get factories to be built on small islands. For what? What's the purpose of that? So there you go. Steamy Bean, I want a traveling without Bruce t-shirt. Tom Henry, how about ships with solar panels? Tom, they wouldn't. You wouldn't have enough space to generate enough electricity for the ship. You could certainly design a cruise ship that could have an array, a serious array. But you got to understand too that when these ships go through storms, and I'm not talking about waves are 100 feet high, but I'm talking about 30-foot waves with all that mist, all that the wind howling up, and as the wave crests, the water just turns into spray. You've got salt spray coming onto a cruise ship. Now, they're designed to handle that. You probably noticed that the top of the decks, they're constantly resurfaced with kind of a chemical type surfacing that's designed to handle this sort of salt water. The drainage is such that the ship is designed for it. The design of the ship is designed to cut right through the water. But if you've got solar panels up there in any kind of an array, you can fold them in somehow, maybe, but they're going to corrode. There's going to be corrosion up there because it's steel holding it up. It's a limited lifespan, and you can only make electricity during the sunny days. And if it's too windy out, you may find that you can't unfurl or open up the solar panels without them getting caught in a bad gale and being ripped off their foundations. It's just too risky. So, but even if you could cover the top of a cruise ship with a whole bunch of solar panels, you wouldn't be able to make enough to support 7,000-8,000 people on board. Might handle 500, but not 7,000. And there's the dilemma of that. But not, every little bit helps. Robert Brandt, laughing out loud, Seakeeper. Richard C., we should stop those locations that harvest tar sands oil. They cook that blob stuff in open cement-like kilns, spewing into the environment. Too much clean fuel underground to do this. Well, Richard, you make a point. The tar sands are always a hot topic. The dirtiest oil in the world is in California. Did you know that? There are oil fields that have been running since the 30s and the 40s that have the dirtiest oil, worse than the tar sands, by the way. Technology, however, in the last 30 years has really cleaned up the emissions from oil producers, California producers, Texas, Oklahoma, all the U.S. states, Gulf Coast, and in Canada. Oil sands companies, the folks up in the northern Alberta area, they're under some serious restrictions for emissions, and they have got scrubbers and you name it. They are actually world leaders in developing technology to produce oil as cleanly as humanly possible because the planet is still addicted to oil. Can't say the same for the Mideast. I can't say the same for Venezuela. I can't say the same for third world countries off Africa that happen to have oil, either offshore or onshore. Their oil is produced in any way that you can get your hands on it, turn it into cash as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible, and we don't give a damn what the emissions are. But in Canada, there are strict emission standards. But the media and the folks at the Sierra Club have done an incredibly good job of basically painting the picture that oil from the ground is poisonous and dangerous to all, no matter what. Well, all right. I guess if you have a windmill generating electricity and that powers a motor that powers an air conditioner, we call that clean energy. If you have oil from anywhere in the world produced that is burned to generate electricity from a generator to create an air conditioner, it's not as clean as wind. I grant you that. Solar, same thing. I grant you that. Problem is designed to power itself forward from solar and wind only. And It could be, but it may take, I think, 100 years to build it out. And it's going to take taxpayer money. It's going to take governments who are going to say, it's a 20-year plan. We're passing this legislation to build this infrastructure, and we don't care who the president is in 5 years, in 8 years, in 12. We don't care who the party is in charge of the White House, the Senate, the Congress. We don't care who the Prime Minister of Canada is. We don't care who the Chancellor of Germany is. This is the 20, 30-year plan that is being built out, and we're into the end, no matter who's in power, then it could be done. Good luck. Good luck with that one. Don't think so. Much too short-sighted, unfortunately. What are you going to do? Seakeeper, Venice has been crying in the canal since cruises started stopping there, but they are doing nothing except moan. Come on, Venice, basta. Well, you know, Venice has the power, but they want the money too. The merchants all around St. Mark's Square want the money, even though St. Mark's floods a couple of times. They want the money nonetheless. We need to bring back sailing ships, Richard C. is saying. Richard C. Bean is laughing out loud. Robert Brandt, we need the ships. We need the ships. Don't get me wrong. You're right, Robert. You need them. There's no doubt. It's your island's salvation. It really is. It will maintain 50,000 people on the island for sure. 35,000 visitors, 15,000, whatever the number is. That is your lifeblood for cash. Absolutely. Of course, you fly people in for 1 week stays at nice resorts. Yeah. But cruise ships, oh, non-voting money droppers. Beautiful people. They're beautiful. Richard C. Robert Brandt need to hold a vote to become a state, but you'll get federal taxes if you did. Silo Steve, I got it. Cruise ship size seaplanes. Here we go. Cruise ship size seaplanes. There we go. Robert Brandt, Richard C. There's a move here to take back the island since the Bill of Good from 1917 purchase was never upheld. Example, limited financial help after 2 Category 5 hurricanes. While the Islanders obviously talk about it, but on the mainland, no one knows what you're talking about because it is a non-issue on the mainland of the United States. Like, unfortunately, most of Puerto Rico's problems, no one gives a damn in New Mexico about Puerto Rico's problems. No one cares in Wyoming. No one cares in Missoula, Montana. They don't talk about it. They don't hear about it. They don't want to hear about it. It's none of, they couldn't care less because Montana, Wyoming, and Utah, they all have 2 senators each, just like New York, Pennsylvania, and Florida have 2 senators each. And the votes go where the senators are, and it's all local. It's all local, and no one cares for Puerto Rico enough to make the change. And this is the sad story about why Puerto Rico, in this case, is way more third world than any other protectorate territory of the United States of America. It's terrible. It's a sad story. But yeah, St. Thomas, they've got their issues too and their concerns. I get it. We had it in the Cayman Islands all the time, all the time. Robert Brent, it's a mix of pros and cons. Correct, sir. You're correct. Jim Thomas, solar panels could act as a net for jumpers. A pretty hard net. Yeah. You land on that, you're dead. Richard C. Also, we get dirty oil from overseas. Refine it in Texas. We refine it in Texas and send clean Texan oil to European refineries. Texas refiners are set up for the heavier sulfur oil. Only Brent in North Seas are cleaner. There you go. And, you know, Texas has made billions of dollars doing this. The state coffers are very healthy because of it. A lot of employment, good paying jobs, and shoot that crap into the air and it just gets blown away because it's always windy in Texas. Where it goes, you know, wherever it goes because, hey, you know, we're making money. That's how it goes. That's how it's happening. In Canada, we've got a big debate. We're trying to get oil to the market. We can make the oil. We can produce it. We can get it out of the ground. We can clean it. We can scrub it. We can refine it. We can't get it to market where we get paid for it. The United States, we did finally get the pipeline built, the XL across the border. Trump signed that into law right away. Obama wouldn't do it. But we're trying to get pipelines built to the coasts, the West Coast in particular, to export it. This cleanest, as clean as fuel can be. We were trying to export liquid natural gas. This is the killer in Canada, the killer of all killers, the cleanest burning fuel in the world. We were trying to build pipelines for liquid natural gas to be shipped to the West Coast, to be put on big tankers, and to be sent to Japan, China, South Korea, Indonesia. The markets are massive. All we can produce, they want it. They'll pay top dollar for it. Canada was trying to get permitting through 15 years ago, and the tree huggers stopped it dead in the tracks. They put that thing through the courts, and it's still litigated. Companies have walked away. There was a giant gas company out of Indonesia prepared to spend $10 billion building their own facility to import liquid natural gas from Canada into Indonesia. They couldn't get permits through. The tree huggers teamed up with the interest groups from left and right, and we buried it in the courts. And Canada has 0 liquid natural gas ports on its west coast. Not one. 0. In the meantime, the United States is building liquid natural gas export facilities everywhere, all the way up and down the West Coast, and business is booming. Business is booming. Canada can't get gas out of its country down to the States because the pipelines we already have are full. They're full. California buys all the natural gas. We can sell it. All we can sell it. They'll take it all and utilize it as a clean burning fuel for electricity and so on. Canada is just choking on its own stuff, and no one can get at it. And Canadians are their own worst enemy because there are so many Canadians that stop Canadians from making money. It's just insane. And so gasoline here is $1.40 a liter, $5.60 a gallon, roughly about $5.10 US Canadian a gallon. So $3.85, $4 a gallon US. In Vancouver, it's 30% higher. $1.75 a liter, $1.80 a liter. Unbelievable. In Montreal, the other direction, we can't get a pipeline. There's an existing pipeline between Alberta and the east coast of Canada already. And it was a natural gas pipeline at one time. The talk was we'll convert it to an oil pipeline. We'll just turn it to an oil pipeline, modify it, modern standards, safety galore, and ship oil all the way to East Coast in Canada so the Canadians can have Canadian oil making Canadian gasoline. Because today, Montreal, Toronto, they use U.S. gas, U.S. gasoline to power their cars. It's silly. So we're selling oil from Western Canada down to the States, and we're buying gasoline from Eastern U.S. up to Canada. And the folks in Montreal and Eastern, they pay way more. They pay way because they're buying gas, refined gas. Oil companies were announcing the intent to build the pipeline, to reverse an existing pipeline, make it an oil pipeline all the way to the east. Montreal, the mayor of Montreal got together 80 municipalities all around the city, said, no, we don't want it. We don't want it. No, we don't want it. It's too dangerous. In the meantime, 55 people died in a small town in Quebec 6 years ago, when a train full of butane, of bitumen, actually, material you take to refineries. The train ran off the tracks in the middle of town in the middle of the night on a Saturday night when everyone was partying, blew the downtown out of the water, 55 people dead. They didn't find 40 of the bodies. Couldn't find the bodies. Only ashes were left after days of trying to put this thing out. The mayor of Montreal is going, we don't want no pipeline. We'll just do the rail thing. Yeah, we don't need no pipeline. Keep that Western oil in Western Canada. We don't want that dirty stuff out here. Meantime, 55 people dead. It's just incredible. Such a political hot potato up here. Unbelievable. It's a hot potato elsewhere. And yet you would think there are simple solutions. Can't get to them. Just can't get the simple solutions. It's amazing. Anyway, fun times at the OK Corral, I guess. Let's see here. Any more messages I'm missing out on? Yep. Okay. Here we go. Debbie, Emmanuel. I love all that I learn on this channel, even if it's not about cruising. California regulations have ruined this state, but in their minds, they are saving the planet. Well, California is a world leader when it comes to emissions, starting in the 70s. Because have you seen the pictures of downtown LA in 1965, 75, 1980? I mean, my God, Los Angeles was a pit of haze, just smoggy haze. It's a lot cleaner now, but at unbelievable cost. And Californians are paying dearly for fuel. They really are. I applaud California with regard to incentives for electric cars. I think it's fantastic that you would encourage Tesla and other companies to build electric vehicles, give them free access to the high volume lanes, the passing lanes on expressways. I think it's great. Should be done everywhere. I really believe it. But you can't do it on your own. The rest of the country has to be kind of dragged along. And unless everyone pitches in, it won't be economical for everybody. If one state allows you to just spew crap into the air without penalty and one state is restrictive, guess where heavy business is going to go? Heavy industry? They're going over here where they can do anything they want. And God forbid if you live and work in that place. But I think it would make sense, doesn't it? I don't believe it. And Jordan, Richard Brandt, hope you have a great time with your son coming to see you. Richard C. Robert, the U.S. gave $36.5 billion to Puerto Rico and only $22.5 billion to Texas for the hurricane damage. Texas has a much bigger population than Puerto Rico versus Texas, so per person, Puerto Rico got lots of aid. You're absolutely right, Richard. You're right. You're absolutely right. However, the system, the power system, the power grid that Texas has, going into those storms, world class, top of the line. Houston and Texas as a whole, the power companies get such great tax write-offs, such great tax breaks from Texas and the federal government that they could afford to install the world's most advanced electrical system. Puerto Rico didn't get that luxury, and the economics doesn't make sense. Houston is what, the fourth highest population city in the United States? Dallas, top 10 city. You just said it, 28 million plus people are building out that power system and utilizing it. Puerto Rico, 3.5 million on the entire island. You don't have the demographics, you don't have the economies of scale. And so when you have an electric company in Puerto Rico that is kept together by duct tape and you get 2 hurricanes back to back in 2 weeks to wipe it all out, and I mean snap power poles in half, concrete power poles, yeah, of course, it's going to take billions to rebuild it because it was built in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It's being rebuilt in 2017-18. Today's dollars, not yesterday's dollars. Texas was built out with yesterday's dollars from the 50s, the 40s, the 60s, the 70s. It's all built to modern day standards. Puerto Rico was hodgepodge together, slapped together, and that's why the difference. You can hate it, you can like it, but it's reality. It's just what it is. And unfortunately, hurricanes do serious damage. And really, Texas, should they have really rebuilt the grid? Maybe they should have taken this opportunity to not rebuild the grid like it used to be in the 50s and 60s. Maybe this kind of money should have been used for Texas to go solar, to go wind, and not build out the grid like it was before. Make it now a localized grid with localized solar power stations in communities. The future, Marty McFly, the future. Puerto Rico has been doing this somewhat in certain enclaves of the island. This is the perfect chance to do it. You got to spend the $30 billion anyway. Why don't you build out the future power grid for 2050, 2100 instead of 1950, 1980? But again, politics, big business, you're the power company and you own the senators, you own the congressman, you own the governor's office. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to put out bad press against solar, bad press against wind turbine, bad press against tree huggers, and you're going to promote the good old days, the good old ways. Remember when your mommy and daddy took care of you? We can do that again. And they fall for it every time. America first? Maybe not. Seakeeper, the track around Lake Megantic will not be finished until 2023. It's going to go around the city. That's right. Michelle Lucas, Debbie, us too. Nice having virtual travel friends. And Jordan, Debbie Manuel, I love this new learning as well on traveling with Bruce. I'm lost though. Don't know too much about stocks and shares and oil. And Jordan, Michelle Lucas, I agree with you. It's awesome. Paul Wolgas, Richard C., but the damage in Puerto Rico is far worse. Exactly. Robert Brandt, everyone forgets that on islands, everything costs more because it has to be shipped in, not trucked in. Exactly right. Cayman Islands, we didn't have toilet paper unless it was shipped in because no one made toilet paper on the island. Didn't have Kleenex, didn't have handy wipes, didn't have dishwashing detergent. It's all brought in. The shelves that hold the toilet paper in the grocery store brought in. The tile that you walked on inside the grocery store brought in. The concrete that was poured to pour the foundation for the grocery store brought in as powder, mix the water, make the concrete. The mixer was brought in. There was nothing there, and always brought in. And you want to hire a contractor to build a grocery store in Cayman or in Puerto Rico? Good luck. You are paying top dollar because there's only 2 or 3 contractors you can talk to, and they got to bring it all in. It's incredible. If you've never been on an island full time, you don't know. You just don't appreciate the logistical nightmare. And then a hurricane comes around and you can't import anything for 2 weeks because the container port has been damaged. You can't bring a ship to unload the new containers because the old containers are everywhere. It's now, what are you going to do? Well, now we have toilet paper shortages. That's what starts happening within days. Within days, this begins happening. It's devastating, just devastating. Robert, you're absolutely right. Debbie Manuel, funny, Tesla man is building an underground tunnel as a test and completely unregulated. No studies, permits needed. Proves only care about who's doing the work, and I need a permit to build fences. Debbie, you're mainly right, except that on the Tesla side, he's doing it in. He has a couple of test facilities. One, of course, outside of Las Vegas for that tube that he's working on. I always forget what that thing's called. The Hyperloop. He's doing that on his own dime, and then the tunnel under Los Angeles is from point A to point B. He did get approval for that, but were there environmental studies done? No. Were there 25 hearings had? No, because it's never been done before. It's a test. It's at his dime, not the taxpayer's expense. And if it works, it could be a game changer for society as we know it. So, I mean, the Wright brothers didn't need permits either, and they invented a powered airplane. But I bet you that if the Wright brothers wanted to build an extension on their bicycle shop, even in those days, they probably needed a license to build an extension to their own bicycle building in their town back in North Carolina. I mean, it's one or the other, and we have to ask ourselves, do we want progress or don't we? And how are we going to get it? Who's going to pay for it, and how is it going to be done? Anyway, can't make everybody happy. You just can't. Robert Brandt, exactly what Paul Wilgus is saying. He agrees with you, Robert. Robert Brandt, we want to pull all the power underground and concrete bunker the grids, etc. There you go. Richard C., yes, Puerto Rico residents pay 0 in taxes, so it's tax dollars that go to the disaster areas. So it was a great return for Puerto Rico personnel. Still have residents in Philly getting free housing from the hurricane. I don't know if Puerto Rican people don't pay taxes. I think they do. I think taxes are pretty high in Puerto Rico. There's also sales taxes. There's property taxes. There's all kinds of taxes there. The fuel is expensive. And a lot of people are paying a lot of taxes for diesel to run generators for electricity. It's very bad. And the highest electricity rates in the world, in the Western world, are Puerto Rico. I don't know if you know that. Robert Brandt, 25% of Americans in the States pay almost no federal taxes, yet they got aid. And that's true, too. A lot of Americans don't pay taxes either because they don't make enough. Robert Brandt, it's an argument you need to be in to understand. I hear you. Richard saying, yes, the government gives each person with no income like $2,500 a year in tax return money, plus the social aid and education for those that don't earn money. Isn't the U.S. great? Free money. Well, you know what? I say educate Americans for free, give them free health care, let them travel anywhere they want in the United States, work wherever they want with free national health care, cut your military budget to like half so that you're only 10 times as much as your nearest competitor, and educate your population. Make your university students the top end. Make your high schoolers university students. Take your pre-grade school kids, feed them, educate them, make them educated through university, and they'll be engineers, and they'll make so much in taxes. They'll pay so much in taxes, you won't know what to do with the money. But if you want to keep it the way it is, you're going to get the way it is, and the way it is ain't perfect, is it? It's not perfect at all. Robert Brent asked Trump for his return. What return? The president hasn't paid in years. Paul Wilgus, laughing my ass off, that'll never happen. Robert Brent, Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands don't pay federal tax, but we do pay taxes. Yes, you do pay taxes, serious taxes. Everything is much more expensive there. Richard C. PR residents don't pay federal taxes. They pay local taxes. So where does that money go? It goes right into the island to try to keep running it. And even local governments pay more to run their local governments than local governments do on the mainland. Because again, you want to build a sidewalk in Puerto Rico? Bring in the cement, bring in the mixers, bring it, everything shipped in. It's incredibly expensive to run the island. It is. Paul Wilkes, I agree, Bruce. Richard C., who will protect NATO countries? Most are not paying what they need to pay for their own defense. Oh, Richard, you see, I don't know. Germany is paying a pretty serious price to defend itself. They paid a pretty dear price to keep defending themselves. Poland is paying. They're doing what they can. But on the one hand, America has to ask itself, well, do we protect NATO with dollars and get the benefits? The benefits of a secure NATO are trading partners. They buy American stuff. They send us tourists. We send them tourists. We buy their stuff. It's a good deal back and forth. But if we don't help defend NATO and let the Russians run roughshod, we're going to now have to either decide to let Europe get overrun by enemies and lose all those clients and all those allies, and just be ourselves. Is that what you want? It's a question of what do you want? What do you want at the end? What do you want? If you want it all your way, not going to happen. If you want it two ways, maybe it can be done. Right now, it's not happening at all. Ask Washington where the money goes. It's all a political system. Richard C., Robert Brent, Paul Wilgus, they all pay what is agreed upon under NATO rules set up. That's true. It's been this way for decades. The United States has got pretty good security because the Europeans keep the Russians where they are. Thank you, Europe, I say. Canada benefits as well. Richard C., only Poland, England, Italy pay their share. Unfortunately, not even our neighbor pays the target 2%. Why is it 2%? Why does it have to be 2%? Who set that target? That's a made-up number. Maybe we should make it 1%. Let's leave it at 1. Leave it at 1.5. Why does it even have to be 2? Who made that rule up? I think I know who did that. What does he know? Does he really know that's the number? I don't buy it. What can I say? Anyway, there you go. I think that's enough for today. Sorry, we've gone on track, but it is interesting talk. The world is a complicated place. I will give you that. And it's not always perfect. It's not the way we like it, but it is what it is. And we are in it. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm a cruiser, not a military man. And, I believe in good free trade everywhere. Right now, consumers are getting ripped off with tariffs. The only people paying will be consumers, no one else. And I don't think that's fair. I didn't vote for consumer taxes in my last election. I don't think you guys voted for consumer taxes, tariffs in your last election. I don't think any American supporting Donald Trump ever thought that they would have to pay more for the basics because they elected this guy. I don't remember that in his platform. He thought he could make a deal. I can make deals. I'm a great negotiator. Well, show me one. Show me a deal that doesn't cost me more money. I don't see it. Anyway, there you have it. Subtle. No cruise talk. What can I say? We voted for a reduction in taxes and got it. Yeah, and kiss that goodbye because you're now paying more at the pump. Now you're paying more in your grocery store. You're going to start paying more in your department store. You're going to be paying more online. You're going to be paying for everything, and it's going to be ugly. It's only just begun. And forget that tax refund. Oh, and by the way, you got a big fat deficit coming your way too, by the way. Who's going to pay that? I don't know. Oh, my goodness. I think I'm exhausted after today's show. Debbie, you're right. I'm exhausted too. His deal is bankruptcy and renegotiate. That's true. He's done it 5 times. He's a pro at it. Guys, I'm going to call it a day. I'm on tomorrow for 2 shows, 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock tomorrow night for trivia. And then I'm off for Friday and Saturday. And I'm back on, I'm off Friday, Saturday, and I'm usually off Sunday as it is. Then I'll be back on the air Monday. So thank you for showing up today, joining in on the discussion, happy, sad, and everything else, frustrating, and wherever it's at. I love it. I love the commentary. I love the engagement. And I hold no grudge against anyone. I thank you all for catching up with me today. I hope you've had a good time. I have no idea if I got any thumbs ups today. I got 23 thumbs ups. Okay, that's not so bad. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming by and picking up some of this stuff. Robert, I can't wait to see your photos of your stuff. And Amazon affiliate link, and also on donations to the channel. Thank you very much for all of that. You guys have a wonderful day, a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Traveling with Bruce. Today was July the 11th, 2018. We're still alive. We're still cruising. We're still loving it. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 5. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.